Ordinary young man who probably for the last 7 or 8 years has been raising the bar in terms of production values and musicianship in the making of albums under the folk banner. He's made a string of absolutely wonderful, wonderful albums, all of which I have, all of which I play. He's a great musician, he's a great guitarist, he's a great singer, and he's a great composer. Jim Moray!
Evening. How are you doing? Having a good day? Well, I woke up in Sark this morning in the Channel Islands. But I think I'm glad I'm here. I'm going to start with a ghost story, if that's all right. Is that okay? Yeah. Are you sitting comfortable? Are you in the mood for story songs? Well, this is an example of what is known as a night visiting song, which, in case you're not familiar with, it's a very common device in folk music from all around the world. They're found in all sorts of cultures, but they all sort of have the same plot, which is boy meets girl, he gets sent away across the sea. I like to think he's gone off on tour. He gets in his tour boat and goes off on tour. And 7 years later, it's a long tour, 7 years later, his girlfriend is lying in bed and there's a knocking at the window. So she runs downstairs to see who it is, and it's him. And he does look a bit different. He's got a few extra tattoos and has grown a wispy beard. But she doesn't think anything of this at that point, and she's so excited to see him that they go upstairs and do whatever it is that they do. And after that, she says, there's something different. Something different. You look a bit emaciated and a bit pale. You haven't been eating your greens. And he says, well, I'm actually dead now. Maybe I should have told you before. But don't let it put you off. And it doesn't. And then they live happily ever after. Until the next day when he gets banished to purgatory forever. So this is my happy song to start with. Enjoy it while it lasts. Okay, here we go. Sally at her bedroom window stands where she stood for 3 years past. I fear my true love is lost in battle, and I'm wondering how long love can last. But the church bells toll to tell her midnight, with 3 bold knocks at Sally's door. Quickly she's risen upright, saying, who's this calls so late an hour? There he stood, her own true lover, raven sharp eyes shining through. Say, spy lonely love, or not was the promise when I departed. You said that when the bullets flew, that I should turn just like the blackbird, safe back to share my hard life with you. He's led her up to her bedchamber, bending knelt down where she lay, saying, rest here in my arms forever, for I must be gone for the break of day. So she sleeps and dreams she sees him all by her window, lit by the moon, saying, I must be gone, love, at the rise of the sun, love, I fear you've loved and lost too soon. So Sally startled as awoke, raven sharp eyes shining through, but all that's left are 3 black feathers and the bright moon, so crisp and new. Sorry, Chris. Thank you very much. Sunny, isn't it? Sorry if I'm pulling a squinting face on anyone who's taking photos. I shall sing you a Broken Token ballad now, if that's all right. Very similar concepts to the Night Visiting song. Apart from this time, boy meets girl. He goes away off on tour in his tour boat. And this time, she's a little bit more clingy. She's a little bit more clingy, and this time, for 7 years, she sits on the shore, weeping, waiting for him to come back, which is a bit much. It's a bit much by anyone's standards, really. But 7 years later, she's sort of getting a bit desperate by this point, and a fairly dodgy-looking chap comes up to her and tries his luck, and tries to chat her up. But he isn't getting very far. He says, well, why not? What's wrong with me? I have lots of money. He's very emphatic about the amount of money he has in this particular version. And she says, well, I've been waiting for my boyfriend, and he's in a band, and he's gone away off on tour. And he's been away for 7 years. But I'll just sit here and weep, because that's what I do with my life now. At which point he says, well, I happen to know that your boyfriend is dead, so why don't you come with me? And she goes, no, it's all right, I'll just wait, just in case. At which point, he rips off his fake beard, and he throws his dodgy anorak in the sea, and he says, it's me! I was only testing you! And far from being incredibly patronised, or thinking he's a little bit weird, she thinks this is great, and says, great, why don't we get married? So yes. There you go, that's how this song goes. Anyway, incidentally, should any of you go off on tour, I do recommend doing this. It is great fun. Many relationships have been ruined that way, but it is good fun. As you might imagine, this song has several parts to it, so I recorded it as a duet with another singer. And I've just been on a big tour with Eliza Carthy, where I got to sing this song with my friend Lucy Farrell every night, but unfortunately she's not here. So, as they say on Radio 4, all other parts shall be played by members of the cast. So I shall be singing not only my usual role of Dennis, but the role that I understudy, which is Jenny of the Moor. So there we go, this is called Jenny of the Moor. As I strayed by the seaside, the moon was gently rising, bedecked in all its pride. I spied a lovely maiden sitting at her own front door, and the Why so early do you rise? I love to breathe the morning air when the lark is in the skies. The spot is sweet to wander by, though the breakers often roar, and wake the bosom of the deep, says Jenny of the Moor. We both sat down together by a pleasant shady side. I says, my love, with your consent I'll make of you my bride. For I've plenty at my own command, brought from a foreign store, and it's proud the man who wins the hand of Jenny of the Moor. True love of my own, though so long he's been from me. True I will remain to him while he is on the sea. 'Cause our vows were fondly spoken when we parted at the door, and I will wait for his return, says Jenny of the Moor. Says, if your love's a sailor, won't you tell to me his name? His name is Dennis Ryan, and from Newry town he came. With laurels I'll between him when he's landed safe on shore, and I will wait for his return, says Jenny of the Moor. Dennis is your true love, then I know him very well. The battle lovely Homer, to an angry ball he fell. Behold this true love token, which round his neck he wore, and she fell and fainted in my arms, did Jenny of the Moor. So kind and true, look up my girl, I cried. Behold, I'm Dennis Ryan, and I'm standing by your side. Let us be united and live happy evermore, and the bells will ring out merrily for Jenny of the Moor. And we'll join our hands in wedlock, says Jenny of the Moor. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. So the tour I did, that I've just finished with Eliza, was to commemorate two anniversaries. That her 21st anniversary of being a professional musician, and the anniversary, the 10th anniversary of my first album, which was called Sweet England, which came out 10 years ago last week. So there you go. I'm going to say it's all right. You don't need applause for telling me I'm a bit old now. But yeah, it came out 10 years ago last week. I'm going to sing you a song from it. This is the title track from it. So this is a song that was collected by Vaughan Williams, by the composer Ralph Vaughan Williams, and he was quite an interesting man, in that he was a fairly committed atheist. Certainly towards the end of his life, he was quite vocal about this. But he also made his name early on compiling hymn books. He was commissioned by the Church of England to write a series of hymn books. So he reconciled these two things by setting hymn words to traditional tunes that he collected mostly in the south of England. So if you look in a hymn book compiled by Vaughan Williams, they've usually got the place name at the top of the tune. So this tune is marked Stowey, and Stowey is a village in the Chew Valley in Somerset, which is about 10 miles from where I live now. But a lot of these tunes have subsequently become a lot more associated with the hymns than they are with the original tunes. So. But this is the song from whence the tune derives, and it's called Sweet England.
As I was walking one morning in spring, to hear the larks whistle and the collie birds sing, I heard a sweet maiden making a moan. Alas, I'm a stranger, a long way from home. I came from sweet England with my mother and dad. I thought in America all could be had, of gold and of silver and acres galore, and I never need hunger in poverty more. But alas for sweet England, my father is dead. My mother can earn the days little for bread, and I dream as I gaze at the far distant plain for a fine ship to take me to England again. My mother is dead, I'm left all alone, but if I were in England no more would I roam. There's an aunt in the country, she loves me amain, so won't some ship take me to England again? But there's a sweet little cottage, the rose at the door, and there with my aunt I would learn my life for. I'd nurse her in sickness, not tend to her pain. Thank God I'm back in sweet England again. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Right, I shall sing a couple of songs from over here. So that song, like I say, was from 10 years ago, and this song is from last year, for me anyway. This was also collected by Vaughan Williams round about the same time, about 1906, and this comes from a man called Dougie Carter. James Dougie Carter was his name, and he was a fisherman in King's Lynn in Norfolk, and he gave several songs to Vaughan Williams, but this is probably the most well-known, and it's a particularly jolly subject matter. Not something I think he had any experience of, but then again, neither do I. That being the abduction and eventual murder of his cabin boy as a sailor, as a fisherman. But about about 20 years after this song was collected, the story made its way down the coast to Aldborough in Suffolk, where Benjamin Britten based his opera Peter Grimes on the story contained within this. So if you're familiar with Peter Grimes, you'll know what's to come. But this is called The Captain's Apprentice.
One day this poor boy unto me was bound apprentice, because of being so fatherless. I took him out of St. James's workhouse, his mother being in deep distress. One day this poor boy unto me nothing unto him he'd say. Up to the mainmast shroud I sent him, and kept him there all that long day. All with my marlin spike I misused him, so shamefully I won't deny. And with the I gagged him, because I could not bear his legs and hands unto me expanded, his pretty face to me likewise. By my barbarous cruel entreatment, the very next day this young boy died. So come you captains all throughout this nation, special care of your apprentice when you were on the raging Okay, I'll sing you a song with a chorus. You may well know this one, but maybe not in this form. This song was collected from a man called Tom Daniel, and I say collected in inverted commas because Tom Daniel was a retired mill worker in Batley in Yorkshire, and the story goes he went along to his local folk club probably in the very, very early 60s, I think. And they were really overjoyed to have an old guy that might know some of the old songs. So they asked him if he knew any old songs, and he said he did. And he got up and he sang a verse and a chorus or so of this. But then he couldn't remember any more, so he sat down. But he came back the next week having remembered a couple more verses, and a third week, and a fourth week. It's sort of generally accepted these days that Tom Daniel was going home each week and writing a new verse for his traditional song. But when Vaughan Williams first started collecting, he got a few songs from a man called Mr. Potiphar in Sussex. And when he played, I mean, chiefly a version of Bushes and Briars, when he played these songs to some of his composer friends, people like Delius
Percy Granger, who were also interested in folk song collecting, they said it couldn't possibly be a real traditional melody because common people couldn't have come up with a melody that sophisticated. And Vaughan Williams' response to this was, if that is so, good for Mr. Potiphar. And good for Tom Daniel too, I think.
It's poverty, poverty, no. My Lou is saying all day, oh, poverty, poverty, no. Gaffer's too skinny to pay us, and poverty, poverty, no. Always one eye on the clock. I know I can guttle when I hear my shuttle go. Poverty, poverty, no. And we have to wet our own yard by dipping it in yonder town. It's cold and it's soggy, it makes me feel groggy. There's rats in that dirty old barn. Sometimes a shuttle flies out and gives some poor woman a clout. She lies there bleeding, but nobody's heeding, and who's gonna carry her out? 'Cause it's poverty, poverty, no. My Lou is saying all day, poverty, poverty, no. Gaffer's too skinny to pay us, and poverty, poverty, no. Always one eye on the clock. I know I can guttle when I hear my shuttle go. Poverty, poverty, no. And the tuna should tackle my Lou. He just sits there on his bar. He's always busy courting our Lizzie, and I just can't get him to come. But Lizzie's so easily led, I reckon he takes her to bed. She used to be skinny, just look at her belly. It's just about time they were wed. 'Cause it's poverty, poverty, no. Gaffer's too skinny to pay. Poverty, poverty, no. Who it is saying all day, poverty, poverty, no. Always one eye on the clock. I know I can guttle when I hear my shuttle go. Poverty, poverty, no. Oh, how my poor headed sing. I should have woven 3 strings. The threads they keep breaking, my poor heart is aching. Oh God, how I wish I had wings.
Thank So, are you still sitting comfortably? I haven't brought you down too much. Yet. Are you ready for another story song? Well, this is a song, it sort of came about because a man in America called Chris wrote me an email. He just received my last album, but one. He said, I really like the record you just sent, but have you ever had a look at my favourite child ballad? Because we all have one, right? Child ballad number 7, which is called Earl Brand. And I'd never heard anybody else sing it, I'd never heard of the song. And I looked it up, and it seemed like it had quite an interesting story to it, but there was very little to work with there, with words or tune. The child ballads, in case you're not familiar with them, a series of books called the Popular English and Scottish Ballads, compiled by Professor F.J. Child, Francis James Child. And they generally have 8 or 9 versions of each song, some in heavy dialect, some in maybe very antiquated language, some with some bits missing. So quite often you have to pick through and make your own song out of the fragment. So I started the process of doing this, and I sort of got distracted and put it to one side for a bit. And then, a couple of years ago now, I was involved in a thing called the Cecil Sharp Song Project. Did anybody see the Cecil Sharp Song Project? Okay, with some other fantastic musicians, like Catherine Roberts and Andy Cutting and Patsy Reed from Scotland, and some bloke called Steve. And and the idea of this project was to sing some songs collected by and write some new songs inspired by the collecting trips of Cecil Sharp to the Appalachian Mountains. And he went there towards the end of his life 3 times with the object of finding songs that had died out in the UK that might have survived the trip over with early settlers to the US. And he was very, very successful in this. He found about another 200 odd songs, including 11 more versions of this ballad. And the thing that swung it for me, or the 2 things that swung it for me, was the first one. I found a version that was collected from a man with my favourite name of any traditional singer I've ever heard. It was a man called Philander Fitzgerald. I did wonder what you had to do to earn the nickname Philander. But Sharp, as we know it now, I guess you'd call him an early adopter of technology. And he had a camera at a time when cameras were quite rare. So what he tended to do is swap a song for a photo of the person who sang it, which was a quite prized possession for them then. But thanks to that, we know what a lot of his informants looked like. And there's a fantastic photo of Philander Fitzgerald with his wife sitting in this sort of wooden throne on his porch, surrounded by his 46 children. And the lady that showed me this photo said, very helpfully, I don't think they were all with the same woman, though. Now, I'm naive to this sort of thing, but I can only presume she's right. So there was that, and then the second thing, for people that know stuff about me, you'll know why this is funny. I found a version on a broadside that was marked in big, bold type, The Douglas Tragedy. So I named this version after that. This is called Lord Douglas. And there's also a part of it, sorry, I realise I'm talking quite a lot for an outdoor festival. Do tell me if I'm being boring. But Professor Child was quite interested in Scandinavian folklore. A lot of his work was based on the work of a Danish folklorist who was called Grundtvig. And there's a Danish variant of this ballad, which has a whole subplot about a curse placed on the 2 main characters. And the curse is they can elope together, but if they ever refer to each other by their given names, then terrible things will be unleashed. So I put that in the mix as well. Okay, this is Lord Douglas.
you 7 sleepers, so long before the day. For Lord Douglas comes all in your lady's chamber to steal his love away. Put on the gold and chains of silver. Don't let your father know that I will take in hand his youngest daughter. To the hills we'll go. But there was one in the lady's house who heard what they did say, who rang the bells both loud and shrill, so long before the day. Awake, awake, arise, you 7 brothers, put on your armour bright. For Lord Douglas comes all in your lady's chamber to steal his love by night. Miles together across the wooded green. Light down, he says, my own true lover, the dawn is coming in. The sourwood and the ash grew up together across the wooded plain, and all the trees in the greenwood start to tremble to whisper Douglas' name. I think I hear your father's steed, his hooves upon the ground, and I will wager that it won't be long till we are found. But I have run from all that was before me, and put my house to shame. So fear the curse my mother placed upon me, dare not speak my name. But few short miles together across the wooded green. Well, lie down, he says, my own true lover, for dawn is coming in. The sourwood and the ash grew up together across the wooded plain. All the trees in the greenwood start to tremble to whisper Douglas' name. Hold your hand, my love, she says, your strokes are wondrous sore. For sweethearts I will have again, but fathers I'll get no more. Hold off, Lord Douglas, she calls towards him. She's called him by his name. For all the blood that you've shed in anger, love runs in every vein. Oh, choose then, Lady Margaret, if you do stay or bide. Well, I must go with you into the greenwood, since you have left no guide. And he's placed her on the saddle seat beside him, his sword unto the ground. How his wounds did tremble and did quaver, soaked his shirt with blood. Lie down and rest, my love, she says, I fear that you were slain. Your body trembles to the touch, there's not much life within. They had not rode but few short miles together till they came to the town. Oh, mother, make my bed, then cries Lord Douglas, for I want to lie down. The sun rose up before them, and the cocks began to crow. For every wound Lord Douglas had upon him, the crows and blood did flow. Lord Douglas died so long before the morning, his love, she died tomorrow. Lord Douglas died of the wounds her father gave him, his lady died for sorrow. She was buried in the yard, he was buried by her, and out her heart a crimson rose, out his heart a briar. The briar and the rose grew up together till they could get no higher. And there they twined a true love stalk together for all of to admire.